Okay, we are going to start in grammar on page 25. We are on page 25. Oops. My camera is not awake yet. Okay, let me try that again. It's weird. Whenever I click on the icon first, oh, now it's not wanting to. Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. Okay, it's waking up. Wow, that took a little bit. It's happening. It's happening. It's coming. Okay. Boy, it's the weather. I don't know. The weather is a little extreme these days. You guys probably noticed that. I'm hot again. I was cold. Now I'm hot. Here comes Ian. Yay. So yeah, we're in for a long hot week this week. This is page 25. We're talking about adverbs this morning, and you guys know about those. We've been talking about them for a while, and you already use them in your writing, but an adverb modifies a verb or it adds to a verb. That's how I like to remember it. Ian, we're on page 25. And it modifies a verb or an adjective or another adverb. An adverb often ends in ly. Those are the ones that we know the best. However, many adverbs do not, including very, together, never, soon. The words yes, no, not, to, even, and else also function as adverbs. So if you think of these questions on the side here, see in the margin where it says how, when, where, why, and to what extent, those are the ones, actually, I think that's to, never mind, that's for an adjective. So it's basically, it says, okay, well, let's look at this example. Sorry, my brain's a little foggy this morning. Mowgli quickly played. The wolves would soon decide his fate. And how did he play? Yeah, that does work with the adverb. So how did he play? He played quietly. And then when did he decide? Soon. He soon decided his fate. So yes, sorry, for a second I thought these sounded like adjective questions, but these are the adverb questions. So if you find the verb in the sentence and then ask yourself how, when, where, why, and to what extent, that's going to help you find the adverb in the sentence. Most of the time it's ly. So that makes it pretty easy. An ly adverb dresses up writing when it creates a strong image or feeling, and it's suggesting you look for ly adverbs in the book and then keep track of them in Appendix 2 in the back. There's another spot to make a list as you come across ly adverbs. Sometimes it's best if your parents are okay with it to look up ly adverbs. You can find a lot of lists online to help you. And then, of course, our binder has lists too. Usage with adverbs and adjectives. Both adverbs and adjectives add detail to a sentence. Adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs, while adjectives describe nouns and pronouns. Use the adverb and adjective questions to determine how a word functions in a sentence. Okay, that's why I got a little hung up there, because really these questions are for both adverbs and adjectives, but the difference is when you're looking at the verb, you look at the verb to find the adverb, you look at the noun to find the adjectives. That's the part you got to remember is what goes together. Okay, so it says write ADV above each adverb and ADJ above each adjective. So they're going to make mistakes on purpose, and you have to find the mistakes and just draw a line through it and then write the correct version of the verb or the word above it. So originally this sentence said, the restlessly tiger switched his tail furious. That doesn't sound right. So these two are incorrect. we needed to take the ly off of this one, so now it's restless. And then on furious, we needed to add the ly. So now it says the restless tiger switched his tail furiously. So notice, and I wanted to point this out to you guys, anytime you have an ly adverb, if you just take off the ly, it becomes an adjective. That's a little trick you can know. And vice versa, if you see an adjective and you put an ly on it, it becomes an adverb. So those two work together. But it depends on if you're modifying a noun, it's an adjective. If you're modifying a verb, it's an adverb. Okay, so those two are the same types of words, depending on what they're modifying. We're talking about the number 3 opener here. I need Matt and Ian to turn on your cameras, please. This is the ly adverb opener. That one's pretty easy to spot because it starts with an ly word, okay? And then there's some comma rules here. Use a comma if an ly adverb opener modifies the whole sentence. Do not use a comma if the ly adverb opener modifies the verb. So there's a difference between if it modifies the whole sentence or if it modifies just the verb. To determine if an ly adverb modifies the sentence, you have to test it. It was blank that blank. That's the test. So if this makes sense, the ly adverb is a sentence adverb. Use a comma. If it modifies the whole sentence, you need a comma. If it's only modifying the verb, then you don't. If the test does not make sense, confirm that the ly adverb only modifies the verb. Do not use a comma. So here's a couple of examples, and you're going to write the number 3 because this is an opener, an ly opener. Obviously, Mowgli was content. Obviously, Mowgli was content. It's an ly opener because ly is the first word here. And we use a comma if it modifies the whole sentence. So you can try the test. It was obvious that Mowgli was content. That actually makes sense, right? It was obvious that Mowgli was content. Look at the next example. Comfortably, Mowgli sat in the dirt. Now try the test. It was comfortable that Mowgli sat in the dirt. That doesn't really make sense. It was comfortable that Mowgli sat in the dirt. That doesn't make sense. So that's just telling us it's modifying the verb sat, comfortably sat. It's not modifying the whole sentence. Okay, that's the difference you're looking at here. So when it's only modifying the verb, you don't need a comma. You're going to remove it. So it's going to take a little bit of practice, but eventually this will start making sense to you. But remember this test. It's really important. It was blank, that blank. It was blank, that blank. Any questions so far on this page? Let's keep going. There's more on the back. This is a big lesson here. Matt, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good. I need you to keep your camera on. It's the last time I'm going to ask you, okay? So keep it on. I got to be able to see you. All right, adverb clause. You guys know clauses have verbs in them and phrases don't. That's the difference between the two. So an adverb clause is a dependent clause that begins with a www word. You guys remember back with www.asia? I think a couple of you are new to the class, but this is a little fun way to remember these adverb opener words, these adverb clauses. So www.asia.b, that's what you have to remember, www.asia.b. And this is what each letter stands for. W, when, W, while, W, where, A, as, S, since, I, if, A, although, B, because. Those are the adverb clause openers to the clause. If you memorize that, then you'll be able to find them really easily. You're basically going to put parentheses around the clause. Look at this example here. Although he was furious, he could not grab Mowgli. Although is the A here, the second A in Asia. So that is an adverb, part of the WWW word. Although he was furious, that is the whole clause. And you have a subject verb inside here, he and was. They go together inside the clause. Look at the next sentence here. While the wolves watched. Oh, that's not a next sentence. That's the end of the sentence. I realize now that it kept going. But while is one of the W's. While the wolves watched, it has a subject and verb inside the clause. So you're going to label it AC for adverb clause. Parentheses around it. It's not air conditioner, in case you wondered. AC, adverb clause. Okay. Quotations and end marks. This is the little rule right here on the margin. This is a good one to look at right here. The attribution is who's speaking and how they're saying it. So when the attribution comes first, you put a comma and then the quote. If the quote comes first, you put the quote with a question mark, if it's a question, and no comma, and then attribution. So if the attribution is first, comma, if the attribution comes after the quote, no comma. Same with this, with the exclamation point here. Okay, both of those are just a pattern for you to memorize. Look at the example. Who is this? The cubs asked. He has no fur, they yelled. So notice the quote came first, and then you have the attribution afterwards. It's highlighting that T right there because when the attribution comes after, it does not need to be capitalized. He has no fur, they yelled. It does not need to be capitalized after. If the attribution comes first, obviously, then you treat it like a sentence, a beginning sentence. Here's what's called imperative sentence. This is an implied subject. This gets a little tricky. Don't worry, though, because you'll have lots of practice with it. And this is getting deep into grammar, by the way. You guys are getting into like high school level grammar here. And honestly, when I went to college, I was learning the same stuff. So you'll hear it again if you go to college. So this deep grammar we're getting into here. Yay for us, right? Okay. An imperative sentence gives a command or makes a request. It's imperative. It's a command. Because commands are always directed towards someone, the subject of an imperative sentence is always you. It may not say you, but you can imply that it's you. And you're going to write it in there in parentheses.
Is that what we did last year too?
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did talk about it a little bit last year. This is getting a little deeper into it because you're starting it earlier. But yes, good, Ian. I'm glad you remember. You're going to write you in parentheses to show the subject of an imperative sentence. Write V above each verb and the subject above you. Even though we're not going to add it technically to the sentence, we're putting it in parentheses just to remind us that it's there. It's like invisible. If it says play quietly, that's a command. You're telling someone, you're telling your little brother and sister, play quietly, right? I bet you can relate to that if you have a little brother or sister. The subject is actually you, but it's implied. So that's why we have it in parentheses with an S above it. And then obviously the verb is play. There's also interrogative pronouns, and these are used to ask a question. The most common interrogative pronouns are what, whatever, which, whichever, who, whoever, whom, and whose. You're going to write PR above each pronoun. These are going to be considered pronouns from now on because they are interrogative. They ask a question. So imperative gives a command. Interrogative asks a question. I always think of interrogate. You've probably heard that word before. And if you've watched any movies where there's like a detective that's trying to figure out a crime and they're interrogating the suspect, they've got the light on them and they're asking, where were you the night of September 14th? You know, they're grilling them. They're asking questions. So interrogate, that will help you remember that interrogative is a question used to ask a question. So what becomes the pronoun? This is weird because it's not he, she, or it, or they, or them. It's what. So it becomes a pronoun now. And then who is also the pronoun in this sentence when it's a question. Okay. Any questions? Speaking of, on this page? No? Okay. Moving on. Anybody feel like reading our sentence today? I forgot my little, hold on just a second. Forgot something. Oh, here it is. I'm going to read it today. Finally, the night of the annual meeting came. The entire Lee pack gathered around when it was dusk. The summer moon was full. The air was still. The vocabulary word is annual. You guys probably already know that. It means yearly, every year. So that's the vocabulary word. There are 5 articles in here. Go ahead and find those by yourself. You guys know what those are. A
This
and
is just
the.
narrow.
Yes.
Can we just can we change entirely to entire?
Is that bothering you?
Yeah.
I agree. Yes, let's do that. Let's mark the articles. And then, yes, I agree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It sounded weird. Entire. Thank you, Ian. All right, nouns. Let's start with Aubrey. Where are the nouns on this page? Do you see them? Those are going to be person, place, or thing.
Is meeting one?
Yes, meeting is one. Good.
Pack?
Yep, good.
Noon?
Yes. There's a couple of them that tell like the time of day. Those are nouns. Say it again.
Dusk.
Dusk is one. Yeah.
How many are there? 6?
You have 2 more.
Air.
Good. Air. I see you, Ian. I'm going to let her try. She's getting it. One more. It's toward the beginning. I'll tell you that.
Night.
Say it again.
Night.
Yes, night. There you go. You got it. Good. Thank you. Pronoun Kylie. There's only one. She's trying to unmute.
Okay, my screen changed. I'm like, what the heck? It.
Yes, that's it. Just that one. It. Adjectives. Alex. You got a bunch of them. Those are going to describe the nouns.
Annual,
Yep.
entire,
Yes. Good.
summer,
Good. It's describing the moon. That's right.
still,
Yep. Still good.
and full.
And full. Very good. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Adverbs. Matt, where are the adverbs?
Um, Gathered.
Gathered is going to be a verb, actually, but if you look at the word gathered, where, that's a question. Remember, an adverb question is where did they gather?
Around.
Good. That's an adverb because it's telling where. There's also an ly adverb in here.
Finally.
Finally, good. ADV. Oh, that's it. Just those 2. Good job. Ian, do you see the prepositional phrase yet, or should we skip that one? Matt, keep your camera on. Unmute so I can hear you, Ian. Do you see it, or do you want to skip it and come back to it?
Sorry, I was clicking the wrong thing. Of the annual meeting.
Yes, good. Of the annual meeting. Very good. That's the prepositional phrase. We've
Right.
got some main clauses here, and I'm going to actually do this one with you. Finally is the opener. And remember, if you need a comma, let's talk about this first really quick. So finally, the night of the annual meeting came. So the comma rule, if you guys remember, I'm going to go back and look at it really quick. If it modifies the whole sentence, you don't need a comma. But if it modifies only the verb, if it modifies the whole sentence, you do need a comma. If it modifies only the verb, then you don't need a comma. Okay. So in this sentence, it goes with the rest of the sentence. Finally, the night of the annual meeting came. So we do need a comma after finally, and we don't need a comma after night. So finally, because it modifies the rest of the sentence, the night of the annual meeting came. That means we need a comma here. That's what it's talking about. The finally, that whole rest of the sentence happened. Okay. So when you have an adverb opener like this, and I'm giving this away, even though it's on our list, I'm going to label it a 3, and I'm going to call it ly adverb. That is the opener. The main clause begins after that. So I'm going to put a bracket here by the night of the annual meeting came. That's the end of the bracket. That is a main clause right there. And then the next main clause starts with the entire pack gathered around, stops there, because now we have an adverb clause. Remember the Asia words? www.asia. When is one of those words. So now we're going to mark this as an adverb clause, when it was dusk. And by the way, the clause is not part of the main clause. The adverb clause is separate. Then we've got another main clause here. The summer moon was full in bracket. And the last sentence, the air was still. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 main clauses and an adverb clause. So go ahead and check those off. Subject verb pairs. So Jude, I'm looking for verbs now. So just look for those words that don't have a label yet, and that'll help you find the verbs.
Came,
Came is one. Yep.
gathered,
Yes.
was,
Yes.
was again,
Was again.
was again.
Was again. You got it. That's all of them. So it helps when you start labeling these things. Obviously, the words that are left are going to be easier to spot. Everything's going to have a label pretty much. So subjects, though, I need Kylie to help with that. So looking at this word came, who or what came in that sentence? It's actually what came in that sentence.
Sorry, I was muted. Meeting.
It's not meeting. It's the night of the annual meeting.
Oh.
So the night is actually what came. The night came. Okay. The next part right here, the next clause, what gathered? It's for
Pack.
Pack. Yes, good. For inside the adverb clause, what was dusk? It was dusk. And then this main clause, what was full?
The moon.
Moon. And then what was still?
The air.
See how we did that, you guys? You're looking at the verbs and then you're asking yourself what or who or why, those types of questions to find the subject. It's actually who or what, not why. Who or what. Okay, we got it. There are 4 openers. I gave away one of them. The next one is right here, the entire pack. So Aubrey, do you know what kind of an opener that one is? The entire pack? I think we have 3 openers so far. We have subject, prepositional, and adverb. So it's going to be one of those.
A subject opener?
It is a subject opener, which is a number 2. I ran out of room, so I'm just going to put a 2 here. Or actually, sorry, my bad. It's 1. 2 is prepositional. It's a 1 opener. Sorry about that. And then, Alex, what do you think about this sentence here, the summer moon? What opener is that?
Also subject open.
Also subject. And then, Alex, what about this last one? The air was still.
Isn't that one also?
Also subject. Good. Indent, we're just going to put a paragraph symbol at the very beginning and make sure to indent when you rewrite it. Capitals, you guys know those. Those are the beginning of the sentences. Go ahead and find those. 1, 2, 3, 4. End mark, period. Commas, we already fixed those right here. Finally, comma. I know my marker is kind of thick, so it's hard to see everything, but and then the usage we already fixed. Woohoo, we're done. Instead of entirely, it's entire. Did you guys get all that? Yeah? Any questions about this page? Any questions? No? That was a big one. Just power through it when you do your homework. And by the way, like I'll remind you again, if you come to something and you can't figure it out, skip it. Because a lot of times when you keep going and go through your list, you'll be able to figure it out later. Okay. Done with grammar for today. Go ahead and get your binders out. Let's see. And you guys wrote about
Maui and the Great Fish.
oh yeah, the first paragraph. Does anybody want to share their paragraph with the class? Kylie has her hand up. I have time for 2 people. If you want to share, I have time for 2. Kylie can go, and then anybody else want to go after Kylie? You don't have to, it's optional. Okay, it looks like you're it, Kylie. Go for it.
Where did I put it?
Whenever you're ready.
Sorry, I'm trying to find it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, good.
As usual, Maui's brothers were quietly paddling away from land without Maui. Maui was angry. They think he's too young. One day, Maui finally had enough. He started to wolf his own fishing line. As soon as that was done, Maui put on a fishing hook, which was the jawbone his grandmother gave him. Maui spotted his brother's quokkas and hid inside. When the brothers were too far from land, he showed himself.
Nice. Very good. We like to give claps like this in the camera. Woohoo! Go ahead and do that, everybody, for Kylie. There you go. So I'll give you a chance, each time to share if you want to share, but it's not mandatory. But it's kind of fun when you get into this class a little bit further along and you start getting proud of your writing and you want to share it. It's pretty fun. So just think about that for next time. You don't have to, but it's kind of fun to start doing that. All right, so we got through with the first paragraph. There are a couple things I want to remind you about. You guys, I haven't graded everybody's yet, but I did look at a lot of yours. So make sure you check Google Classroom after class and see if I graded your paragraph yet. And by the way, I always put notes. You guys know this. I put notes inside your document. So make sure you check that because I'm giving you really specific notes to your paper. That's going to help you be a better writer. So make sure you find those notes. And if I ask you to fix something, I need you to fix it. Okay. A couple of you forgot to double space. And that's like a big, big, big pet peeve of mine. Like I'm going to be nice to start out because we're starting the year. But eventually, if you forget to double space, I won't even grade it. I'm going to leave it a 0. Okay. Even if it's good, if it's not double spaced, that is a pet peeve of mine. So please, please, please double space. I'm going to be nice for a little bit, but that's on your checklist. So everybody get out your checklist. It's page 43. All your stuff should be in the front pocket of your binder. So you might as well just grab that whole stack for this We're working on Maui and the giant fish. Name and date, that's also super important. If I don't see your name on your paper, I'm not even going to grade it because you guys are like upperclassmen now, so you should know these little details. So name and date in the upper left, composition doublespace, super important. Side note here, a couple of you are forgetting to set your document to doublespace. Let me show you what that looks like really quick because it's really important that you do it first before you even start. Because what happens is if you keep it on single space and you think, oh, I'll just enter. Have you guys ever done that before? Where you're just like, I forgot how to double space. I'm just going to put enter after every line. And then you go back and you're like, oh, I got to fix this. And then when you go back and fix it, it messes everything up. And it's bad. So this is a blank doc from Google Docs. I know a couple of you are still handwriting your stuff. I'm okay with that for a little while, but I am going to require typing eventually. So keep that in mind also. Right here.
Typing does not work for me at all. It hates it.
I know, Kylie, and you have such beautiful handwriting. I have no problems reading it. It's just that it's pretty soon. It's going to be time to start
I
typing.
want to write on a computer. I just can't because every time I send it, it won't go to you, like at all.
Oh. Okay, let me show
I've done
you
it 3
something then.
times.
Okay, let me show you something then. Well, first of all, you guys see my cursor right here where it has this little up and down arrow and these lines. This is how you set it to double space. Click double. Before you even start typing, click double. And now you don't have to ever worry about that for this document, but you have to do it every time you open a document. You have to set it to double first. Okay, so that's really important for you guys to do. I'm going to switch over to Bob Smith. You guys know Bob. Good old Bob. What? Oh, hold on. Bob, what's going on? Let me open a new tab for Bob. There he is. Okay. I am going to go to Google Classroom, just showing Kylie, maybe some of you might need to see this too. Bob is registered for a lot of different classes, and here's yours. He's in your class. Yay. Okay. Go to classwork, Kylie. And then let's say it's for this homework here. Click on it. This is all familiar, right?
Yeah.
Go to view instructions. And then add or create. Have you tried this method already?
No.
Okay, this is what I want you to try to do this next time, okay? Whenever you're ready to start typing it. But if you click add or create, then you go straight to docs from here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
Write this down real quick.
yeah. Well, I am recording this class if you need to go back and watch it again. But yeah, if you want to write it down. So we went to classwork, click on the assignment, and then click view assignment. And then click add or create. So this is what it does. It opens up a new box here. It just says Google Docs, and you have to click on this. Then you got your doc. Set it to double space. And boom, type, blah, blah, blah. I'm in all caps. I'm not yelling, I promise. Okay, that's my story. And then right here, you see the turn in button? It's that easy, Kylie. It's like super duper easy. Click turn in.
It's going to be a little hard to read.
Yeah, Bob's not going to get a good grade on this. I'm going to be mad, number one, he didn't put his name on there. I'm going to be mad, number two, because he didn't even do it right. But it gives you this option of window right here, turn in. So easy. Boom, done, turned in. That's all you got to do. And then it comes to me and I can check it out. So I'm glad you brought that up though, because I think, everybody needs to get familiar with that. I know some of you are handwriting and that's okay temporarily. But soon I'm going to require you to type. You guys are ready?
I do handwriting most of the time because I also have a teacher that I have to give samples to.
So
And it would look a little like I cheated if I.
Oh, like they don't even want to see typed stuff?
I think they do. I don't know, but
Because you can always print it if you wanted to, like, print your typed page. You're not the only one that's handwriting in here. I'm not picking on just you. I'm not picking on you at all, actually. But you're not the only one that's handwriting. There's others in this class that are. I'm not pointing out names or anything. So don't feel like it's only you, okay, Kylie? Whoa. My words. Okay, so we're looking at the checklist. So make sure to look at that. We're going down here. Some of you forgot this. This is important. Super important.
I'm so sorry, I forgot it.
I wasn't going to say anything, but okay, Ian, you were one. ly adverb, who, which clause, and strong verb. You have 3 now. You have 3 dress ups. You only underline one of each in each paragraph. And by the way, a couple of you forgot the who, which clause. You only have to underline who or which, not the whole clause. Okay, another thing to remember. And today we get to talk about band words. Yay! Aubrey, did you have a question?
Could you underline the whole clause, or just like you can't? You only have.
Yeah, you're in the writing. No, I don't want you to underline the whole clause, only who or which. Okay, that's a good question. So I want the clause to be in there, but you only have to underline who or which. I know it's different because you mark the whole thing in your grammar book, so it's a little different than that. Any other questions about the checklist? No? Okay. Did we get into the band words last week? Trying to remember. Did we talk about that yet? This blue
I
page.
think a little bit.
Look at your blue page. Do you have words on there yet? This is page 41. Oh yeah, I see Aubrey's. It looks like we did. This is blue page 41. You should have say, said, seesaw, and go, went. Give me a thumbs up if you have columns for each of those. Say, said, seesaw, go, went. Okay, good. So don't forget, don't use those words. You got to use from your list. Those are okay, but not the ones you put up at the top. Those are now banned. I'm going to be nice because it's still the beginning of the year, but eventually I actually take points off if you use banned words. Right now, just try your best, okay? Get into the habit of not using this. All right, now let's look at your story sequence chart. We got to finish up this story here. This is Maui and the giant fish. This week we're going to be finishing this up. So you should have the actual story next to you on your desk there. I'm going to put mine, just this one on the screen here, but we talked about characters and setting, and you guys did a great job introducing that for that paragraph. These paragraphs are short, and you might have noticed on the Google Classroom, I did say if you want to add more sentences to fill in, that's okay with me. Or if you want to keep it bare bones, meaning just 4 sentences per paragraph, that's okay with me too. We're going to move on to the conflict and the problem. So we left off here that Maui hid in the waka, and then you picked a word, whether he revealed himself or he showed himself or whatever you ended up using here. That's where we left off. He showed himself. Here I am. And now we're moving into the next part of the story, which is the next paragraph. And it's talking about, what are you doing here? The brothers scolded Maui, but Maui stood firm. And then he's talking about his grandma told me I would be a great fisherman, so I have come to fish. And basically, cast your lines out. I will say my karakia, which is that prayer. And no sooner did the brothers cast their line than the fish were biting. So he tells them, cast your lines, right? He says, cast your lines out. So I think that's where we left off. He showed himself, and he's telling his brothers, cast, I'm going to put here cast lines. And then he says the karakia, which is the prayer. So I guess we could try to put in like little prayer hands here. I don't know if I can draw that, but after karakia, see if you could draw little prayer hands. My prayer hands look weird. Okay. Those are prayer hands. Even though it looks like a peanut, it's not.
They're beautiful.
Thank you. Looks like a peanut. Prayer hands. You can like do like the emoji. I don't even know how that you guys are better at drawing than me by a long shot. But that'll just remind you because when you go to write this, you might go, wait, what's karakia again? You could look back. And he said the karakia.
It's a brand of peanuts.
There you go. Hey, we might be onto something, Ian. This might be like the $1 million thing that we've been waiting for.
The new business plan.
The new business plan. Carry peanuts. Oh my.
And they're better than the original
Okay, I'm gonna
ones
turn off
because
my Bluetooth. There we go.
people with peanut allergies can eat them.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Special peanuts. Blessed peanuts.
They're
Then-
peanuts, but they're
Yeah,
peanut free.
God sent them down to me.
Peanuts, but they're peanut free. Is that what you said, Ian?
Yeah,
Whoa.
peanut free peanuts.
From heaven. Peanuts from heaven. Hey, this is good, you guys. All right.
Your motto.
What happens after he says that, Karakia? Who wants to tell me what happens after that part? I'm right here in the second paragraph. After he says, cast your lines out, and he says he'll say his Karakia.
And he catches a fish.
And then it's not him, though. It's his brothers, right? They caught so many fish that the waka was almost sinking. So brothers fish. I'm going to put waka sink, like a down arrow. They caught so many fish that the waka was sinking. By the way, I think I need to put a B up here by cast because it's the brothers. He told the brothers to cast their lines. He's not fishing yet. Remember, Maui's not fishing yet. They're still telling him, you're not going to fish here. You're not allowed. And so he was just proving to them that this is obviously a totally made up story. I don't even know what God he's praying to. I don't think it's our God. So just to be clear on that, it's a made up story. So we're going with that. And they caught the fish, and then so he was waiting for his turn, right? But they caught a bunch of fish, and then he says, now it's my turn. Give me bait for my hook. And this is where they didn't give him the bait, right? So it was Maui's turn. So let's put like M for Maui. I'm going to circle M here for Maui. Turn. It's his turn. And he asks for a bait. I'm going to put exclamation mark there. And they laughed. B laughed. Those are the brothers. So I've got, it was Maui's turn. He asked for bait. And then actually I should put a question mark here. Like, I need some bait. Give me some bait. The brothers laughed. I'm going to circle that B right here too. So we've got B for brothers, M for Maui. Okay. And so this is the part where we're leading into the big, he's got a problem, right? He's wanting to fish, but he has no bait. That's the main problem that he has here because they're laughing at him, telling him, no, you're not going to fish here. So what was the big thing that he did? He didn't have bait. What did
He
he
hit
do?
his nose and put blood on the hook.
He punched himself in the face, like not just a pretend punch, but like a serious punch. I don't even know if I could do that if I had to. Serious punch to make his nose bleed, right? So he punched He punched his nose. I'm gonna draw a nose. Oh, that's it. That's a scary looking nose, but that's a nose right there. That's a nostril.
I know how to draw a nose.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's so you like draw two circles like and color them in. Then you do like a motorcycle handle, like a dip. Like it goes up a little, then a dip, and then goes up a little, and then do another one. And then you can just draw like operation marks around it. Hold
Oh,
on.
that sounds, I mean, I think I know what you mean, but I think we should put punch nose and made it bleed. I'm gonna put bleed there. Or blood, or however you want to say that. Um, he wiped the hook with his own blood. So remember, the hook was a jawbone.
And then he's all like, fishy, fishy in the lake. Won't you come and bite my bait?
Did you just make that up?
No, it was my mom's song.
Cute. So he put the blood on the jawbone, and that was going to be his bait. So Aubrey, did you have a question?
Do we have to only put 3 words?
Yes, good question. That is a really hard rule. Like you cannot budge on that. You can only use 3 words. That's why we can use symbols like the B and the M, and we can use like a nose. Those are all symbols. You can use numbers and abbreviations.
I can't draw a nose.
Well, as long as you know what it is, that's all that matters. Just kind of like down and then a little nostril. I don't know. That's my advice. Or you can draw a happy face and a circle in the middle. You could do that if that helps. All right, although he's not happy, so maybe it should be a sad face. Then from there, he made his nose bleed. He wiped the hook with his own blood, stood in the waka, and cast his line out. So this is when he's casting his line out. Maui cast line. And then it tightened. You know what it means when you're fishing, right? And the line tightens. You guys probably know that. If it tightens, that means something's happening. Something's interested.
I tried to draw a nose and it kind of looks like a peanut.
And then after the line tightened, I'm going through this story here. I'm kind of doing this one kind of with you here, but it says the brothers quit laughing and clutched the sides of the waka. They began to course across the waves. Cut the line, we'll drown. So how can we put that the brothers quit laughing? Do you have any ideas on how we can show that in this outline? I'm going to put B for brothers. I'm going to put laughing. And then I'm going to circle it and draw a line through it. Remember how we do that sometimes for not laughing? They stopped laughing, right? And then it was a great fish because he had pulled up a great fish. The brothers were scared. I'm on the back of this story now. And what did Maui tell his brothers to do after he caught this fish? He wanted to go and do something back in the town. What did he tell his brothers to do after he caught this fish? It's on the back. Matt, what do you think? On the back here, page 38, after he caught this fish, what did he tell his brothers to do? It's in the top here.
He wanted them to keep the fish so that he could get help from the main
Okay.
island so they can come back and bring it to the island, right?
Yeah, that's right. So he asked them to guard the fish.
Instead, they chopped it up though and started
Yeah.
taking pieces for themselves.
Yep. Good. That's right. So he asked the brothers, I'm going to put B guard. He asked them to guard it. While Maui went to the people. He was going to go tell the people about this fish. So he asked the brothers to guard it while Maui went to tell the people. But you're right. As Matt said, the brothers started chopping it up. So they chopped it. Chopped pieces. And then remember, he calls them, I'm going to draw mountains here. Those are mountains and valleys. So this is a made up story. They're basically saying this is how Australia got formed, even though obviously it's not true. But this is how they're saying Australia got formed because the brothers started chopping it up into pieces and then it became mountains and valleys. They became part of, oh, I said Australia, but it's New Zealand. It's close to Australia. So it says mountains became part of New Zealand as we know it today. And I'm just going to put New Zealand and then no today. It became New Zealand, which is what we know today. Something like that. All right, this was kind of a hard one. So that's why I did a lot of it kind of for you today, just kind of walking you through how to decide these things. The next story is going to be easier. But this one was a little bit tricky because there was a lot of strange parts to it. But now that we got our story sequence chart pretty much filled out, you guys are going to write the next 2 paragraphs. So you're going to continue. I don't want this on a new document. I want you to continue on the document you started with this first paragraph, and you're going to continue with paragraphs 2 and 3. And like I said last week, if you feel like you need to add a little bit more in order to make it flow better, I'm okay with that. If you need to add some extra sentences in there, that's okay. I know we added an extra sentence here just because we needed it to end on New Zealand. It's what we know today. And then it's super important for you to use your checklist. So double space, a couple of you need to go back and rewrite the first paragraph because you forgot to double space. So make sure you double space and make sure you add those dress up words. There's another list you have here, by the way, this pink list. I don't know if you've looked at this yet. This is really handy because you will need these ly adverbs, at least one in each paragraph, and you're going to underline it for your dress up. So lots of choices here when you're looking for a spot. Remember, to find a place for an adverb, you look for the verb first. For instance, look at Roman numeral 2, we put cast lines, and then he said the karakia. So cast is actually a verb because it's what you do with your fishing pole, with your line, you throw it out there, okay? So you could use an ly adverb here before cast. You could say something like, quickly, that's an easy one, quickly cast his line or their lines because it was the brothers. Or pridefully, they pridefully cast their lines. Remember, they were just kind of prideful people. They were making fun of Maui. and they didn't want him to fish. So they were like, neener, neener, I'm going to fish and you're not. So ha ha ha. So it could be something like proudly or arrogantly or something like that. Anyway, this is a good list to have. Keep this in your front pocket this week so that you can find an ly word that would work in your paragraphs. And one more thing I want to show you. If you have a smartphone or if you have access to a smartphone, if you can borrow your mom's or dad's or grandma, grandpa, whoever has one, there is an app. I'm going to show you my phone. These are my kids. It's just a silly picture that I have on my phone, but it kind of reminds me of like a music album, actually. So I have that as my wallpaper. That's my daughter. That's my son. They're just being goofy. So ignore that. But right here, you see that icon. It says IEW. It's called IEW Writing Tools. And if you get that app, it's free. Check it out. It's going to give you a handy dandy list on your phone of ideas, even sentence openers, which we will get into soon. But see where it says dress ups. If you click dress ups, check it out. You've got ly adverbs, you've got who, which clause, strong verb, quality adjective, even adverbial clauses, which we'll get into later. But you can go here if you need a strong verb. That's not a good example. You have to do a couple clicks for that. Okay, let's look at ly adverb. Here's my ly list. It depends on what kind of verb you're looking for. Importance, assurance, frequency, sequence, emotion. Okay, let's go emotion. Carefully, eagerly, ecstatically, forlornly, hopefully, conveniently, mournfully. Check it out. It goes on and on and on. You've got other types of adverbs here. So if you can, get that app, and that's another source for you to find words for your dress ups. You guys have any questions about that? Okay. If not, you still have your list in your binder to use too. That's it for today. Your homework will be grammar pages 28 through 30, and then finish up your story about Maui and the great fish. Keep all this stuff in your front pocket of your binder. And that's it. Good job, you guys. I will see you next week. Have a good one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. See you.